Hello and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I'm Chrissy, I'm the Mum Boss, and I am joined by the lovely Claire Parsons today. Hello, Claire.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's
Yeah, not too bad. It's a bit hot today, but never mind.
Oh, do you not like the heat?
I do as long as I'm by a pool, with a swimming costume on. Then I
Yeah,
love it.
I know. We were just saying before I hit record, you were in your garden room. I'm in
Yeah,
my office, which is like south facing, and it's absolutely sweltering. And I wish I could work in the garden, but the umbrella's not out yet. So, you can't see a computer screen. I mean,
yeah.
first world problems, Claire, and
I
all
know.
that.
Well, someone I knew, who I know, told me that the way they worked in their garden was they got a box, cut the bottom off, and put the box over the top of their laptop so they could work outside.
Yeah.
So maybe we should try that
Maybe
after
we
all.
should do that. Yeah, just save some boxes next time we get an Amazon delivery or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, this is a really, really important chat that we're about to have. Claire and I came across each other on Instagram, as us coaches often do. I think you started following me, and then we started having quite an emotional conversation
Mm.
last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
When the news kind of came out that Weight Watchers were preparing to file for bankruptcy. And one of the reasons they have cited as being the need to do that is the evolution and the uptake in the use of GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. And when I saw that and made a bit of content around it, I thought of no better person than to talk about this than Claire. And that all will become clear shortly when she introduces herself, because we both have a really similar stance on this. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, Chrissy, you're about to bash GLP-1s and all of that, and you're just going to say it's cheating, like, I really want you to listen, because that's not what I'm about to say. But actually, this is a really, really, really important conversation to have, because Claire and I both discovered that we're very emotionally invested in this and quite concerned. So, Claire, tell us who you are, tell us what you do and why you do it.
Okay. So I'm Claire, and um, I am a qualified trained nutritionist, advanced nutrition coach, and I work with ladies who are type 2 diabetic in the main, but a lot of type 2 diabetic ladies have been on GLP-1s for a long, long time. I also, and I'll just tell you a bit about this, I also take a very small dose of semaglutide because I'm type 2 diabetic. So the reason, and I'll explain it. So the reason I do what I do is back in 2016, bear in mind for most of my adult life, I would probably have been obese. Wasn't when I was at uni and stuff, but um, and in 2016, I had a urinary infection, which is a sign of type 2 diabetes because of the sugar in your urine causes urinary infections. And the doctor said, you need to get down here straight away. You're type 2 diabetic. I was absolutely horrified, burst into tears. I'm going to lose my eyesight, my limbs. So, me being me, I'm ADHD, which I realise now. I researched to the nth degree what I needed to do to sort it out. Went on a very low calorie diet, not doing shakes, just eating, because I read Michael Mosley's book on the blood sugar diet, and forget his name now, the professor from Newcastle University. And I did. And I put my type 2 into remission within 3 months. And all was well. Started to put weight back on a little bit. And then during COVID, weight went back on quite a bit. And my doctor was like, yeah, you're back type 2 again. I was like, oh, no, no,
Oh,
no, no, no. Um, and it's not really until I have, over the last few years, lost some weight. Really, since Christmas, that I've been properly on it. Like, I'm not having this anymore. I'm going to get it sorted. But apart from that, The reason I decided to train in nutrition was because of my story. And I
Mhm.
thought, you know what, I need to know more about this. I want to learn more about it. And that's why I trained with Mac Nutrition. Um, and yeah, so that's why I did it, and why I wanted to work with type 2 diabetic ladies.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's why I do what I do.
Lovely. Thank you. And I guess for those who are uninitiated, tell us, what are GLP-1s? What are they used for? Who are they used by?
Yeah, so GLP-1 is a hormone which we naturally secrete when we eat. And it and this is quite interesting because before coming on here today, I thought I'm going to do a bit of extra research because we all know that it slows down your appetite, your stomach processing, all those things. But actually, it was licensed in 2005 initially for type 2 diabetics in the States. And the studies have shown that it can help stimulate insulin secretion to lower your blood sugars. Um, as well as slowing down digestion, which means your blood sugars don't go that high. And there's been quite a lot of studies recently that show its benefits in cardiovascular disease, kidney function. So GLP-1, what we take in injections is a synthetic form of GLP-1 at much higher doses than we secrete it normally. And what's quite interesting is that there was some studies. So it's a particular type of hormone, GLP-1, and studies in the 60s and 80s showed that actually in people with type 2 diabetes and obese people, there's a lower secretion of GLP-1 anyway.
Mhm.
So, you know, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Basically, you're overweight, you're type 2 diabetic, and actually you secrete lower levels of GLP-1 just to compound the issue. But
Mhm.
yeah, so it's a natural hormone synthetically produced for these injections. The injection, which is why we take it as type 2 diabetics, is it slows down digestion, therefore your blood sugars don't rise as much. And also it can help with um, your muscles uptake of glycogen and insulin secretion. And we all know that insulin is the thing that shuttles that blood sugar back off into your cells.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
that in a nutshell is GLP-1 and how it has been, I guess, for years and years before all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's a weight loss drug. It's not
Yeah.
really a weight loss drug, but we are
Yeah.
using it for that now.
Yeah. So when I was doing my research, I was really surprised to learn that it's been around since 2005, because
Yeah.
I think the way it's being portrayed in the media is it's new, and it, all of a sudden found this, but actually it's been used in the treatment of type 2 diabetes for 20 years. Oh, 20 years. Doesn't that make me feel old?
Yeah.
20 years. Um, so we know it's been around for a long time, but we know the majority of the research, the majority of that evidence has been used for treating people with type 2 diabetes, and it is very successful at treating people with type 2 diabetes.
Yeah. You usually find it's part of um, I guess, a mosaic of different drugs. You usually start on metformin. That doesn't work. You might get another tablet. Then they'll put you on Ozempic. But it seems at the moment that doctors, if you type 2 diabetic and you go and say, oh, can I take Mounjaro? They're giving you Mounjaro rather than low doses of semaglutide at the moment. So I think that's good, but I'm sure we'll come on to that.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you specifically help people that use GLP-1s? And is there a difference in what you do? So do you just help people that use GLP-1s for their diabetes, or are you also helping them because they are using it for weight loss?
So The majority of my clients are type 2 diabetics that are taking GLP-1.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I don't think, how do I put this? So, good nutrition is good nutrition. So, the difference, if you're losing weight, you would, or I would, some people might say I'm wrong, would employ exactly the same techniques and things that you would for someone losing weight as you would taking a GLP-1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd ask them to, if they can move, because this is the other thing, I know we're going to come on to this in terms of, can people who are heavily obese weight train to make sure that we're keeping the muscle mass, eat plenty of protein, have plenty of veg, keep your fiber levels up. And good nutrition is good nutrition, whether you are losing weight because you're type 2 diabetic or whether you're on a GLP-1. There are things that you would do, habit forming, all those sorts of things. So, in answer to your question, I probably wouldn't do anything different. I think the thing is with GLP-1 is if you are feeling really ill, the side effects, the nausea, the diarrhea, etc. If you were a client of mine and you were having those sorts of symptoms and you were under a doctor, I'd send you back to your doctor and say you need to go back to your doctor. And I'd make sure that you were doing things like maybe having a multivitamin, taking the things that we normally get people to take, vitamin D, omega-3 fish oils. Make sure you're having plenty of fluids. If you're not eating very much, you need to make sure you're hydrated, and um and those sorts of things, really. You know,
Yeah.
can if you've got diarrhea, can we maybe up your fiber a bit more to try and slow that process down?
Yeah.
And conversely, because with GLP-1 you can be constipated. Is
Yeah.
there anything we can do with your nutrition to help that? But
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, but I think weight loss is weight loss.
Yeah, so I guess this leads us into that there was a discovery in more recent years, so not in 20 years, in more recent years, that actually, so remembering that for those that don't know, a person with type 2 diabetes is not able to regulate their blood sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So what happens is when you typed it, so the research is telling us that it's actually being overweight that mainly causes insulin resistance, which causes type 2 diabetes. So
Mhm.
the fat around your middle, flying around your body, disrupts the insulin. So when you eat, your blood sugars go up, and your body, your pancreas will say, "Oi, insulin, go and
Yeah.
shuttle this, signal the cells to take this sugar in, will you?"
Yeah. By the
Um,
way, everyone, your blood sugar is meant to spike when you
yeah.
eat. That's what
Oh,
happens.
yeah. It's meant to go up. So all these
Yeah.
people, glucose goddess, who
Oh,
says your blood
oh.
sugars spike, it's normal. No
Yeah.
one needs to worry about it unless you're type 2. And then
Yeah.
you don't really need to worry about it because you need to reverse the insulin resistance. And you don't do that by cutting carbs out your diet. Anyway,
Yes.
sorry,
There you go.
going on one. Um, so, yeah, so with type 2, your body gets to the point where it just says, you know what, I am not shuttling out any more insulin anymore. I've had
Yeah, I'm
enough.
bored. I'm bored now.
I've had enough. You're just working me to the bone. So I'm just going to go back to normal insulin levels. And you do that, and then your blood sugars
Yeah.
go up. And that's what causes it. So for type 2 diabetics, the thing to do was I did lose weight. And it's different amounts for different people,
Yeah. Yeah.
is the thing to note.
Yeah. So it's what was found is that in people with a fully functioning insulin function, i.e. pancreas, that the use of these GLP-1 drugs actually caused weight loss because it slows down the digestion but also reduces appetite. Now, it's really important to say that the dosages used to create that, as far as the research I've read, the dosages say I would use as a non-type 2 diabetic if I wanted to lose weight would be a different dosage than what you would use to manage your type 2
Yeah.
diabetes.
if you were put on a GLP-1 just for diabetes, it'd probably be the level I'm on, which is one milligram semaglutide, whereas the semaglutide for weight loss is 2.5 milligrams, and that's called Wegovy.
Yeah.
But what they found in type 2 diabetic patients who were taking semaglutide is they were losing a hell of a lot more weight than type 2 diabetic patients who weren't. And
Yeah.
that's where they went, oh, hold on a minute. Hello, this could be used for weight loss. And of
Yeah.
course, as we know now, it is.
Yeah. And that's where we are now. So without us going into, because we will get there, into the cons, what are the benefits of using GLP-1 drugs as a non-diabetic
Yeah.
person for weight loss?
So I guess for me, there's like two camps. There's people who are severely obese, who are really, really overweight, who've got stones and stones to lose. And if you have ever tried to lose 4 or 5 stones, it is hard work and it takes a long time. So for me, the benefit of this is it really, really helps. And for a lot of women I speak to, even whether type 2 diabetic or not, who are overweight, they've got problems with the joints. You know, the things like, oh, come on, do 1 billion steps a day. I can't. My
Yeah.
joints hurt. I can't do these things. So getting that weight off quickly and in a good way, and this is the issue here that I have around some of these private injections around the health and maintaining the health, is that you get that weight off and people can start doing the habits and implementing the habits that you need to be as a healthy person. I'm not sure I understand. Oh, sorry, that was my Apple Watch listening in there. So I think the benefit is it can really, really help obese people where they've failed in the past to lose weight, because it's a bloody hard slog. It's a hard slog. The more aesthetic things like Sharon Osbourne, I've got very little time for, if I'm honest. She wasn't overweight anyway, and took it. But the benefits are it can, as you hear people talk about food noise, food noise, it basically means you're not hungry. You're not
Yeah.
hungry. So you can get yourself into a calorie deficit, because the other thing is it's not a magic drug that burns fat. You've still got to be in a calorie deficit to lose
Yeah.
weight with it or lose body fat. So what it does, it helps you being in that calorie deficit and not being hungry.
Yeah. And this goes back to Claire's point where she said weight loss is weight loss. And for anyone listening that's listened to any of my other podcasts, you will know that I talk about a calorie deficit. And Claire mentioned the habits there. And, it doesn't matter that Claire and I help a different audience. The habits are the first thing is, in order to lose body fat, you must be in a calorie deficit. To do that in a healthful way, you need to still be taking on board balanced nutrition. So you need protein, fruit, veg, fiber. You need to be drinking water. You need to be moving your body. And yes, we both acknowledge that for people of different sizes, in different, those people that are in obese bodies, much larger bodies, that is much more difficult. But in order to do this in a healthful way, because at the end of the day, like Claire said, there's two sides to this. We've got, the need for you to do that for your health because you are in a really dangerous position. You've also got people that are doing it for aesthetic reasons. But at the end of the day, most people, if they really, really think about it, want to lose weight to be healthy. The people that really need to lose weight want to lose weight to be healthier, right? So yes, these drugs, they will help you to be in a calorie deficit because they take away your hunger.
Mm.
But, and we'll come on to this, that's not to say you can ignore the rest of the lifestyle advice, that you only have to open Instagram and search weight loss and you will see the weight loss advice that I've just said. Eat protein, fruit, veg, fiber, drink water, get sleep, manage stress, get steps, get exercise, right? So you started to briefly mention them. What are some of the potential side effects of using GLP-1 drugs?
So, I mean, most of the ones that are mentioned out there are things like diarrhea, constipation, stomach pains, the IBS type symptoms. I have a feeling my dog's going to come. Sit
Oh,
down there, Bruce.
hello.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Those are the main headaches, loss of appetite is, that is a side effect, loss of appetite, although we're using that to our benefit.
Mm,
Those are the main side effects of GLP-1s.
mhm.
And I shouldn't be saying this because I wouldn't recommend anyone doing this, but I did myself do a double dose a few weeks, a few months ago, just to see what a higher dose of Ozempic was like. Oh, it was horrible. I hated it. Made me feel really, really ill. So I just went back
Mm,
to my normal type 2 dose,
yeah,
um, and did other things, that we know, plenty of protein, fiber, and things like that.
yeah.
Um, but those are the main side effects of these drugs. Now, those are the side effects when you're taking it. I think, which I think we'll probably talk about, what happens when you got to your goal weight.
Go away in bunny ears, yeah.
Um, and I think I'm probably a good example of what not to do when you get to your goal weight. When I put my type 2 in remission in 2016, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan for when I'd put it into remission. Part of me was like, oh, I'd like to go a bit further for aesthetic reasons, but I didn't put a plan in place to manage it properly when I'd done that. And that is my concern with the private, well, actually through the NHS as well, because I don't think doctors have got time to write detailed plans for when people have lost the weight and they're coming off it.
Or the knowledge, or the
No,
knowledge, or the
no,
expertise. No.
no, because some of the things that doctors say to you nutrition wise, I think, what? That's not right. It's not
Well,
true.
the NHS are in partnership with Weight Watchers, aren't they?
Yeah, and Slimming World.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that leads us on to, and how we started talking about this last week was, you can't go anywhere, and I'm sure that our phones are listening, and I bet you now when we open our social media, it will get blared at us now. I swear TikTok listens to me, but you can't open social media, you can't look at the media at the moment and not have celebrities shoved in your face for their remarkable weight loss, and then people are saying that they've been on Ozempic. You're getting, I mean, you told me about something you'd seen on TikTok where someone was creating a paid membership to help people microdose with it. I saw in some of my local Facebook groups the other day someone who is a multi-level an MLM seller of I'm just going to call them a lifestyle brand, right? I'm sure you can guess which one they are.
Yeah,
Um, she's just started dabbling in GLP-1s, and she's got absolutely no nutrition or exercise qualifications, and she's putting together a weight loss drug support group that she's going to charge for
yeah, I
in
know.
one of my local towns. So the reason that we connected over this is just kind of our real fears. And I guess if I kind of share my side of this, and this is the stance I've always taken ever since Ozempic was, and I get the names of them all mixed up. I'm just going to call it Ozempic because that's the one that sits in my head. Ever since Ozempic was licensed for use as a weight loss drug by the NHS, I had a pre-diabetic client at the time, and me and her had a really open conversation about it. And my stance has not changed. There are absolutely people that this is the right path for,
Mm.
as long as they get the right support and they have a plan for afterwards. Because taking these drugs, as long as you don't eat on them, because if you eat, my understanding is you can make yourself feel really quite ill. If you use these drugs the way they're meant to be used, you should, I won't say you will, you should lose body fat.
Yeah.
When you stop taking these drugs, your appetite will return. And if you have not addressed any of the habits or mindset or emotional reasons that you overate in the first place, you will put the weight back on.
Yeah.
And this
Completely.
is what Claire said at the beginning. This is not a miracle cure. It takes away the drive to eat. It takes that away, but it does not replace doing the work on the food noise, the diet culture, the stuff you tell yourself in your head, your emotional reasons for eating, all of those things. Your if you don't move very much, if you don't know how to build a healthy, balanced plate, it
Yeah.
does not fix any of those problems.
No.
And that's the first thing. And then the second thing we connected over is that there are so many people out there now using private prescriptions and getting these, I'm going to say it on the black market because it makes me feel really dramatic, but they're getting these, they're getting their injections, they're getting their drugs outside of the NHS. It is not, they are not getting the correct prescriptions, it's not being used properly, and they're not getting the correct support. So this is where Claire and I really connected, because we both feel the same way.
Yeah. Completely. I worry, um, and it's funny actually. Another coach, me and her have had similar conversations to what we've had about that support at the end of the day. I mean, my mentor, the guy who trained me, Martin, he said that the best thing you can do when you're losing weight is think about the habits that you think a person of your end goal will have, and then do those habits now.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, then we're just going to go back to how we were. And th- there is so much around why people are overweight, or, it can be trauma from childhood. Um, it can just be that you love food and you don't know what's a calorie deficit or a calorie maintenance. But if we don't address those things, nothing ever changes. And like I say, I've been there. I can tell you, it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Um, and I also think you heard it here first. I think people will microdose. I think that's what will happen. I think people will get down to the goal weight, stop taking the drugs. Suddenly the hunger will come back and they'll be like, oh my goodness, and then start microdosing to just get them through, get them through. And I wonder where that'll go. Are we and I know this might sound quite frightening, as humans, are we going to be microdosing these drugs forever to stop us being obese or overweight?
Mm. And for me, and I don't know the research on this. I'm going to be really honest. I don't know the research on this, but obviously we know the drug has been used for type 2 diabetes for 20 years at lower levels, which is what
Yeah,
you said to me,
yeah,
right? But that's in people who already have um a pancreas that doesn't do what it's meant
yeah,
to do it in the way it's
yeah.
meant to do it.
You've
So
already got those comorbidities.
yes, that's the
I
word.
mean, yeah, I mean, the research says, although I think the majority of the research has been done in people with type 2 diabetes rather than a normal population without any other comorbidities. And by comorbidities, we mean things like you've got heart disease or other things going on.
Yeah.
illnesses. But actually, these drugs that in the studies, they actually protect you against kidney disease, cardiovascular disease. Um, but what it doesn't say in the research is that because that person is eating a lot healthier because they're on these drugs and therefore you're going to be healthier full stop, or
Yeah.
is it the drug?
Yeah, it's a bit like, so here's let me try this analogy on and you tell me if it works. So a lot of people say that when they feel depressed, they put on weight. So depression causes weight gain. Actually, what happens is when you feel depressed, you are much less likely to eat healthier. You're much more likely to comfort eat. You're less likely to move. You're less likely to exercise. And therefore, you eat more, you eat more, you move less, and you gain weight.
Yeah,
And then what they report is that when they started taking antidepressants or they got CBT, they were then able to lose weight. And so
yeah,
some people might then say, oh, antidepressants made me lose weight. No, what happened was the
yeah.
chemical imbalance in your
Yeah,
brain was changed by the
yeah,
antidepressants. You started feeling better, you ate better, you moved more,
yeah.
you lost
You could
weight.
cope with your life more and organise it more
Yeah.
completely. I mean, there's so many studies and studies that you probably learned as well that where people who eat 30 grams of fibre every day are healthier. Oh, no shit, Sherlock. They probably know that they need to eat healthily, so therefore they will be healthily. It's not
Yeah.
direct causation that they are eating 30 grams of fibre. It's probably everything else that goes with it. Are they walking a lot? Are they, you know, quite active people?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is a thing with these studies. Sometimes you've got to look beyond the
Beyond the
obvious
headline.
thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So so I guess what we're saying is that we don't what we don't know is for people using these drugs for weight loss outside of being prescribed it by a doctor without the right support, who might then go on to use it long term even in smaller doses. We don't know, because we haven't seen the research, because it's not been going on for long enough, what the outcomes and what the
Yeah,
implications of that might be. And so, if we think about it this way, as me and Claire have both said, you need to have healthy habits in place in order to live a healthy life. If the only thing you are relying on to stay the size you are staying with is the injections without changing any of the other habits in your life, you may be therefore become a smaller person. That does not necessarily mean you will become a completely healthier person.
no,
So what we could end up with in 10 years' time are people who are wearing smaller size clothes, but they've not eaten enough protein, they've not lifted any weight, so they have absolutely no muscle mass. So
yeah,
they are at risk of falling over because they started when they were 45 and now they're 55. They're at risk of falling over. And they've maybe, if they're a woman, their estrogen has gone
yeah.
down, they are at risk of
Your
osteoporosis, break a
issues.
hip, and then they've got mobility issues for the next 20
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
And that
It's
might sound really dramatic, but it's really, really possible.
yeah, it is. I mean that the research for the GLP ones looks really, really good. It does look really good. But like I say, is that because people are being healthier and have taken on healthy habits?
Yeah.
We still don't know whether the people who are taking it for just straight weight loss through these private clinics, what the impact to them is. Because let's be honest, if you get in this weight loss drug through your doctor, you will be having blood tests every 3 6 months. So they will be screening you for cholesterol, all those sorts of things. And let's be honest, we know that those sorts of things get better when you have healthy habits and you are being healthy and
Mhm.
walking and doing some heart raising exercise and things like that. But from a private clinic, they won't be doing that.
No, no. No.
So
Or even worse, a private clinic, but even worse, just getting them off the internet.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
mate who sold Herbalife in the
yeah, yeah.
past.
I I used to, in my corporate job, my old manager took these. So like this was before this was really even some, it was just called skinny jab then, wasn't it? Skinny jab.
I don't know. Was skinny jab the same
I
thing?
don't know. I should have probably looked at this. Let
Yeah,
me
me
ask my
too.
mate. Let me ask my mate Google. Skinny jab. I'm pretty sure it was, you know. Oh, I can't find it now.
Hold on a minute. Let
Well,
me get my iPad.
she used to do this,
Oh,
and
skinny jab, yeah.
but
Can you remember
again,
Gemma Collins did it as well? She was
yeah,
the
I
face of
found
it.
it. Skinny jab. What is it? What is skinny jab? The skinny jab story. Are they going to tell us what's in them? I don't think they are. I don't think they're going
No,
to tell me what's
I'm
in
not
them.
sure it was, you know. Um, what is in skinny jabs?
Oh, I just love this.
Oh no! Oh, hold on a minute. But was this the original skinny jab? So the Guardian is saying that NHS. This is 2 years old. The new skinny jab has been approved by the NHS, but does it work and can you buy it? But I don't know whether that was the one that Gemma Collins was taking.
No, I've found their website, but yeah, it doesn't actually tell you
No.
what's in it. Anyway, um, she used to, she used to take this. Oh, that's skinny jab now trying to contact me if you heard that ding. Um, she used to take it, and knowing that at the time, before I left I was doing this alongside my corporate job, and she always used to say to me, I really I really think what you do is amazing. It's just not for me. I don't want to exercise. I don't want to have to think about what I'm eating. I don't want to have to, try and get 10,000 steps in a day. I don't want to do all these
Mm.
things. This is just easy. Oh, it was Saxenda.
So that is a GLP-1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is a GLP-1.
yeah, because Saxenda is another drug that's given to type 2 diabetics.
Yeah, so it was 2017.
Yeah. Can you remember all the furor then about the skinny jab? No
Yeah.
one, it's funny actually, isn't it? Everyone then was saying how bad it was for you. And I was probably on that bandwagon, but I didn't realise that it was a GLP-1 and I didn't know what I know now.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And
But like you say, your old boss saying, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. But I've found since I've been on my journey to finally put my type 2 into remission again, I've found that doing the extra things like going to the gym and weight training has helped my mental health.
yeah,
Um, and the last few weeks, I've been doing some corporate work, which has been really heavy, and I've not been doing it, and my mental health has suffered. Um, so I think there's lots of other benefits that we don't think about. You know, we just think about, oh, well, I've got to go to the gym to lose weight. Well, actually, going to the gym isn't going to get you losing weight.
no,
It's
no,
done in the
no.
kitchen.
Yeah. So I guess like to round up then, well, is there anything you think we haven't covered? The last
Um,
question I'm going to ask you is, what advice do you have for the women who might be listening who are
yeah,
considering going and finding this on the internet because they potentially know they're not
yeah.
going to be given it by their
So
doctor?
what I'd say, and before I came on, I'm like, I'm not going to get emotional about this. Is if you are really overweight, you have comorbidities, you can't, your joints are suffering, you can't walk, you might have fibromyalgia, things like that. These drugs can really, really help you get your life back.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm getting a bit emotional about this. For a lot of women, that is really important. They want to play with the grandkids and the kids, and they can't. go to your doctor, see if you can get it on the NHS or get referred to a weight loss clinic who can give it you, because I think it will really help you to get your life back for
Yeah.
sure. And that side of it really upsets me, that the lady, they need support. Um, I would suggest that you always go to your doctor first, even if you're type 2 diabetic, you're not on it, and you think, actually, I've got 4 stone to lose. If it's going to help you get out of insulin resistance, go to your doctor and see if they'll give it you.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, and this is not just a shameless plug, but try and find, if you can afford to do it. I would say you can't afford to not to do it, but we're all in we all know what the credit crunch is like. If you can find a really good coach who can help you with your nutrition, so you're eating well, implementing habits on your journey, then please do that.
Yeah.
um, you know we if depending what your price level is, we probably know people at all different price points that can help, um, because working with people like us, we can help the whole circle of it, from your habits, nutrition, even things like, I've got a call with a lady later on, actually, one of my clients who is struggling because she doesn't know how she can take her food to work, and she's going out at lunchtimes and to a takeaway. Things like that we can help you with.
Mm.
But go to first point of call, go to your doctor. I know it's difficult to get into your doctors, but please try that first.
Yeah.
And then go to, if that doesn't work and you still want to pay for it, try a proper chemist like Boots or someone like that, um, and see if you can get some advice on nutrition and implementing healthy habits in the meantime. Really, really think about that. I think if someone said to me, what are your top things I'd do if you're on it, is, if you can weight train. Make sure you're maintaining that muscle mass, because the studies
Yeah.
do say, as normal with losing weight, you could lose muscle mass, and that's going to lower your basal metabolic rate, and we don't want that.
No.
Protein, plenty of protein, get your veg in, get your fibre in, be in a calorie deficit.
Yeah. Love it. And
I hope you already
as
understand.
your your Apple Watch loves me. Um so both of us, both Claire and I are present on social media. Claire has a free Facebook group. We'll put all the links for that in the show notes. I have a free Facebook group. We're both active on Facebook, on Instagram, and give out lots and lots of free advice.
Yeah,
So
and I was going to say, we give out free advice in our Facebook groups as well. If you went in mine or Chris's, you get some good pointers in there as well, for sure. If you want to do that, that's for sure.
And I think it's really important to note that, we are really not, we're not saying that these drugs are bad and that no one should be using them and that they're cheating or anything like that. Both of us just have real concerns over the misuse. I think it's fair to
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
I think and certainly myself, I want you to be healthy at the end of it. Going through it, change your habits. It's in my corporate life, I'm actually a certified business change coach, and they always think you have to change something to elicit change.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't have to be huge things. It can be just some little things that you can tweak here and there to get you started. But think about the whole process. I think that's what we're more worried about.
Yeah, absolutely. Claire, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank
This
you for
has been
inviting me on.
so helpful. I've learned loads. I'm sure everyone else will learn loads. Check out the show notes because I'll make sure that all of Claire's details are in there. Thank you everyone for listening. We will see you soon. Say bye, Claire.
Bye, Claire. Bye, everyone.